depending on the scenario. But when you talk about it in that way, you do give each goalkeeper the autonomy to handle things in their own way, because it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't have to look great. It just has to work for them. And it has to work over time, right? It might work once, but not be the quote unquote right thing for you. But if it works for you over time, then it probably is effective. It probably is efficient.
I think that brings us back to like our masteries of our ABCs tour, and like one of our our first tenets of what we're hoping to develop in players is adaptability and autonomy. And really all that means is, can we help you have as many tools as possible in your arsenal, as many tools as possible? And the autonomy piece is, can you figure out which tool works well in that scenario? So have as many things available to you, and also help you become an independent thinker so you know which tool to use in which circumstance. And that's exactly how we set up our training environment, is so that goalkeepers have an opportunity to like grapple with their tools that they have available to them and which one to use in which circumstance.
I love that. And I think it opens up the environment to all goalkeepers of you can be any size and your game is just going to look different. It doesn't mean that it's wrong or bad. It just looks different if you're a 5-foot goalkeeper versus a 6-foot goalkeeper. There's a space for you. Your game just is going to look a little different.
That's a great point. That's why we think it's really important that size isn't necessarily like the deciding factor in goalkeeping. It's any size. To your point, any size can work. You just have to make sure you know what your skill set is, and maybe you aren't 6 foot tall, but you're quick, or your in possession is just so incredible that you can solve so many problems, and that's your X factor. So I think our training allows people to explore that and find out what their X factor is. Because if we're all forced to play the exact same way, I might not realize that I have this incredible skill that no one else has, and I don't get to utilize it, All right, number two. Number two is working with the best players in the world, is that every person is a work in progress. Is that every single person that shows up to our TKI sessions is a work in progress. No one is the final product, and every single one knows that they're going to walk on the field with two things. I'm going to be vulnerable today, because the only way to improve is to stretch. The only way to improve is to challenge and make mistakes and fail. If you're 10 out of 10, you're not getting any better. There's no better than 10 out of 10, right? So every single time that someone comes into our training environment, even if, no matter what level you're at, you are coming because you know that you are a work in progress, and you have areas of your game that you want to continue to improve on, that you want to hone, that you want to explore. And the only way to do that is to come in a vulnerable mindset, because you're going to make mistakes, because that you're going to be against also some of the other best goalkeepers in the world, and you have to allow your guard to come down and say, this isn't a ego measuring contest. This is literally me trying to work on something in a really, really safe space. And so for the young goalkeepers that are listening to this, no matter what level you get to, no matter how great of a goalkeeper you become, you will always have things to work on. There is no finish line. Even if you became the best goalkeeper in the world and you won every single award and trophy available to you, you would still have things to work on. As high as disguise passes and 1v1, decisions, to as simple as altering your set shape. That is, some of the best goalkeepers in the world, we worked on altering their set shape in minor ways in different situations. So embrace it. The quicker you realize that you will never reach the finish line, the easier it will become to wrestle with your mistakes in training. The easier it will become to overcome getting it wrong 10 out of 10 times. They're scoring now on me 10 out of 10 times. And that you can still keep a great mindset, even though it's hard.
So let me ask you this. How do you set that tone? How do you create that environment that makes people step in and say, okay, I'm willing to recognize I'm not there yet. I'm willing to fail. I'm willing to explore, because, some off seasons, it's people we have worked with X amount of years. And then usually every off season, there's someone who might be brand new to TKI. So how are you setting that environment? What is maybe something that like goalkeepers could do to maybe prime themselves for that environment?
I think we have a reputation that precedes itself in terms of we're all about development. Like, I literally do not give a rip about winning. It doesn't fulfill me. It does not do anything for me. Winning, improving, training, growing, working on something that's really hard. That's where I find so much fulfillment and so much joy. So I feel like people know that when they come to TKI that they're going to be challenged, and that is a given. And so it really is just up to each singular individual to come in with a mindset of like, all right, I know I'm going to be challenged and I'm willing to work on it. But also, like, we did a presentation. First of all, when people got to TKI in December, I looked them all in the eye and I said, I do not want to change anything about you. I don't want to change anything about you. My job is to add. My job is to not change. My job is to add some awareness about X, Y, and Z. My job is to help you add another tool, not telling you that you have to change this part of you. It's just giving you some new ideas. And to me, that's like a much easier avenue to create buy-in, because I'm like, you're already great. I'm not trying to change you. My job isn't to like make my stamp on you. It's just to help add something that maybe you aren't aware of yet, or maybe you need a little bit more time to explore. And the second thing is, when we got to San Diego, I literally said to them, Tori, this is maybe an analogy that you can understand. When you took the SAT, did you have to take the SAT for getting a score or no? Were you trying to get a certain score?
No, I did terrible on the SAT.
Did you were you like thinking about like, I really should get a good score so that I can get into a college or something like that? Or
Yeah.
did you ever take a big test?
Taking plenty, yeah.
Okay. Do you remember what it felt like to take that test? Like,
Yes.
were you anxious? Were you stressed? Were you overwhelmed?
I lived a lot of my youth life that way, yes.
Yeah. I can remember doing a whole PSAT course, or like a SAT prep class or something like that. And I can remember having to think, I need to get a certain score so that I can go to Villanova. And it wasn't like, oh, I need to learn what this word reverberate means. It wasn't about a process. It was literally about getting a certain score so that I could get into the college that I wanted to go to. And because I was so focused on that outcome, it produced so much anxiety within me when I was taking that test, right? And that's sometimes how people live their life every single day. This constant anxiety of like, I need to get to my goals. I need to achieve this goal. I need to get a stat. I need to get this amount of saves or this amount of clean sheets. And it produces so much anxiety and overwhelm and stress that it isn't the best place for us to perform in, right? Imagine living your life every day like that. And so I said, you guys, like, when you go with your teams in the NWSL, there are elements of game day that feel like that, but it shouldn't be every day. We also want to embrace the complete opposite end of the spectrum of recess. We want to embrace how much fun it is to go on the monkey bars and explore how many rings that you can get for fun, or playing tag with your friends. It wasn't about an outcome at recess. It was just about enjoyment and exploring your boundaries of like your movement and like being outside in the sun and away from school and just taking a break, right? So there was this, in our presentation, it was just about recess. And every time someone was having a hard time, like, I was just like, all right, you guys, we're embracing the recess. And it was just like a little mental reset, and like a fun, jovial way. Because sometimes, like, when I'm uncomfortable, I make a joke because it lightens up the mood. And so we just kind of embraced recess, and we enjoyed ourselves. And everybody had, to their credit, coming in a really vulnerable way, a great time, because they were playing with incredible goalkeepers that they could learn from, that they could watch, that they could collaborate with, that they could ask questions. And it was no competition, right? It wasn't like, I'm making a judgment about you. I told them, I've already judged you. You're amazing people. That's the only judgment I need to make about you, right? So it was me designing the environment that I want, but them really embracing it and upholding it. Because I can design all I want, but if they don't embrace it and they don't uphold it, it doesn't really matter.
Welcome to the Keeper Institute podcast. My name is Tori Corsaro. I'm a strength and conditioning and goalkeeper coach here at the Keeper Institute and your host for today's show. The Keeper Institute is a unique goalkeeper training facility in New Jersey aimed at developing better goalkeepers and better people. On this podcast, we will be discussing all things goalkeeping, character development, and more. Welcome back to another episode of the Keeper Institute podcast. Nailed it.
We did it. We did
Perfect.
That 5 seconds leading up to this feels like the longest 5 seconds of my whole life.
It really does.
Surging with excitement for the podcast.
If you don't know what she's talking about our countdown before our podcast starts recording. It's nothing crazy.
We're just eagerly waiting to get to talk to you guys.
Goalkeeping!
Exactly.
I'm really weird today. I'm just warning everyone. So, brace yourselves. Let's get into it. Without further ado, we got myself, Tori. We got Jillian, the Olympian, Lloyden. And we got Kira, Kettle Hut. If you didn't listen to last week's podcast, you don't know about Kira yet. But if you did, you do. And if you don't, you're going to learn today, okay? Kira is part of our TKI Coaching College, and today we're going to talk a little bit about her coaching journey, and we're going to talk about transitioning to coaching in general. Correct, Jillian?
I'm super pumped about it, you guys, because I think this is a space that I feel super passionate about, is helping people once they decide that they want to be a goalkeeper coach, helping them understand their strengths, their skill set, and how do they do this journey when a lot of it is based on your own motivation and your own eagerness to pursue education.
Facts. All right, Kira, let's get into it. Can you just give the people a little bit of your background, who you are, where you're from, maybe some coaching you've done thus far?
Yeah. So, hello, everyone. TKI Goalkeeper Union. I'm from Washington, D.C., and I played D3 soccer at Shenandoah University. And then I was a graduate assistant at Catholic U, and I coached there for 2 seasons and got my master's. And then I found Jill, and now I'm part of the coaching college, and I'm basically just learning how to be a great goalkeeper coach through teaching courses at TKI individual sessions and learning from Jill and everybody else that's here too.
It was a very serendipitous meeting, right? you ran into 2 people that I know separately, and both of those people told you to come to TKI and figure out how you can learn from all the great coaches at TKI. And it was a very sporadic walk in a coffee shop type serendipitous moment for you.
So I was actually working at a coffee shop over the summer, and Morgan Rule came in, and she was coaching at Maryland, and I recognized her, and she offered to meet up with me and get coffee and talk about soccer. And I was so excited. And I met with her, and she was like, "You need to go learn from Jill." And I was like, wow, 3 hours. That's a little far, but I'll try to get down to a session. And I wasn't able to. And then later on, I met Nicole Barnhart, and she also said, "You need to go learn from Jill." So then I was like, all right, forget driving down there for 3 hours. I just need to move my whole life there and go learn from Jill. And I saw that she had started the coaching college, and I was really interested in that. So I gave her a call, and she hired me.
Call Jill. Jill delivers, guys. Come on.
Exactly.
We got 2 people right there. Move your whole life for.
Yep.
I don't know why, but in my head, you said "Call Jill, she delivers," and all I could think about is Tom Brady's new Pizza Hut commercial. Have you seen that?
Miss Saying Hut.
Yeah, Miss Saying Hut. Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, I love it. Well, so that's how you got here. That's kind of your coaching journey thus far. Before we even get to the questions about TKI specifically or the coaching college, tell us a little bit more about why coaching. What is it that made you decide I really want to put my time and efforts into becoming a coach and funnel my career into that path?
Yeah, so I was coaching at Catholic, and it was just me and the head coach. So I was an assistant coach, but I really was super focused on the goalkeepers. I really liked that part. I was a goalkeeper in college, so I just loved spending all my time with the goalkeepers pretty much. And then I realized that I wasn't that good at goalkeeper training from player to coach. And I was super passionate about that because I never had a goalkeeper trainer growing up, but I didn't have one in college. Like, I was pretty much just athletic, and then I made it to the college space. And so I became more invested on how do I get better at this for the athletes that I'm currently training, because they deserve, an amazing goalkeeper coach. And there just wasn't a lot of information on the web about goalkeeping, about drills that you should be running, and like how to improve things. So I just became more passionate about being a better goalkeeper coach, especially because I never had that. And there's just not enough goalkeeper coaches in general for the youth to college. And I wanted to be in that space, especially as a woman, and being a female coach in the goalkeeping world.
Love it. Love, love, love. So let's get into the next part, the coaching college. So we see how you got there. It was a serendipitous meeting, according to Jillian. And you applied and pretty much moved your whole life here right after the holidays. So you've also, not only that, we should also mention the fact that you immediately went to San Diego for almost 2 weeks with
10 days.
The TKI Crew to train.
This is a pretty crazy story. Yeah. So I moved here and I was supposed to start on the 5th. And I was like, I need to get there a week early to like settle down, make sure I'm comfortable in my place. And then I move here. The next day I come to the TKI facility trying to meet Jill. Jill's not here, but somebody's like, hey, Kira, you must be Kira. And I turn around, it's Kaylin Sheridan. I'm like, wow, I knew I was going to meet Kaylin at some point, but I didn't know it was going to be right now. And I think I played it cool. And, but I'm freaking out about that. So I leave the facility. I'm calling everyone I know, like, oh my God, look who I just met. And then Maria calls and I'm like, gosh, Kira, like, what could you have done yet? Like, how are you in trouble already? But Maria says, she's like, hey, would you want to go to San Diego with us? It's going to be family style Airbnb with my whole family, Jill, plus Dom and Kaylin. Like, would that be okay? And I'm like, yes, this is my dream. So like not even 48 hours later, we fly out and I'm like dragging 18 checked bags through the airport with all these soccer balls and Jill, Maria and her whole family. And yeah, that's pretty much how it started. First day on the job.
But it's like the fast track. It's the hottest trail. It's the course.
What a better way to meet your boss and to find out that you're going to be working for Jill and Maria and get to know them that way.
There you go.
We had GTs all around.
So it started out in a lovely, all expenses paid trip to San Diego. But let's talk about kind of the details of the kind of what you've done so far with your role. Like, how has the experience been? Is there any takeaways that you have in I guess you're kind of coming up on a month time at TKI in the coaching college?
Yeah. My biggest takeaway is training kids in a safe environment, creating that safe environment, because I think that's really where you have to start, is making sure that they feel comfortable to explore what they're capable of and be brave and not be afraid of making mistakes. So I would say that. And then at TKI, we focus so much on in possession, and it's not something that I necessarily had built into my drills for goalkeepers before, maybe something they did more in a team activity. So I really like the drills where I can build an in possession into those and really start working with that, because it's just not something that I've done before. And yeah, I feel like those are my two biggest takeaways from the first few weeks of working here.
Nice. Well, Kira, I think that our audience wants to get to know you a little bit more, as well as everybody in our community in New Jersey. So I have a few rapid fire questions for you so that we can get to know you, and so can our audience. All right. Early bird or night owl?
Ooh, night owl for sure. I wish I was an early bird.
Coffee of choice?
Caramel iced latte with oat milk.
Okay. Do you have any nicknames? I'm curious.
Sometimes people call me Kiki. That would be the only nickname I have.
Oh God, you're gonna start some kind of thing with Tori because she gives everybody a nickname.
You like that one?
A lot.
In college, everybody called me Hut. That was my nickname.
Okay.
What about Keeks? Does anyone call you just Keeks?
Keeks? No, but it's up for, and it's an option, Tori.
I'm into that.
I'll respond Keeks just to you, though.
Okay.
As long as you don't call her Eileen, Tori.
Well, no promises. That was super tasty.
All right. Best female athlete of all time, in your opinion?
Serena Williams. I love Serena Williams.
That's mine too. If you could wear any sport jersey, what would it be?
Ooh.
Any team, any sport.
Any team, any sport. Probably the Washington Spirit. Women's soccer,
Okay.
of course.
That's fair. Who's been the biggest influence on your life?
I would say my mom and my sister. I'm really close with both of them, and my mom is what, helped me get here and helped me get through college and everything. So I definitely owe her all the credit.
Okay, and Tori's favorite question to ask anybody is, what is your preference on how to eat a potato?
How to eat a potato. Personally, I like mashed potatoes a lot. So you got to mash it up, put all the spices in. That's the best way.
Awesome. Okay, well, thanks for sharing that. I do have one more question before, obviously, we have a list. I know all of our listeners love the list. So we're going to have a list on some things and ideas that we have if you want to one day transition into coaching. But before we get there, I was just really curious in terms of like who you are as a coach and how that kind of like enhances the goalkeeping community as a larger whole, because we're all so different. Everyone at TKI, we have really similar ideas on how to interpret the position and how to teach it, but we're all so different. And I think that there is something to celebrate the uniqueness of each individual. So I'm curious about you.
Yeah, I think something about me as a coach, I'm very enthusiastic and I have a lot of energy, and I really play into that, especially working with younger kids, because it just helps make the environment more comfortable for them. If you're a little all over the place and you're making it really obvious that you're excited and happy to be working with them. And then like playing wise, like being really preventative, being really brave, and like just developing goalkeepers just to have the confidence to own the 18, I think is what would define my coaching. And just, being able to explore that consistently, and also just like being super confident, like I'm going to get any cross that comes in, like nobody can score on me, developing that kind of mentality.
Yeah, I love that. One more question is, when you were still playing, did you ever think that you would one day coach? And I'm not trying to fish you to have any answer. I think whatever you answer, our listeners can really resonate with.
Honestly, no. I never thought I would be coaching. I never had a goalkeeper coach. So like, honestly, I didn't even think that was like a job that was available. But I never thought I'd be coaching. But I just, as soon as I tried it, I loved it. And I was like, this is totally meant for me.
Yeah. So backstory for me is that when I went to college, I never thought that playing after college was something I could do, or coaching, or staying in the sport. And so I wanted to stay in sports and help people. I knew that about myself, that was my passion, is like provide support and stay in sports. So I was on the route to become a physical therapist. I actually was I got a biology degree, which is crazy because I don't use that. Yeah, I don't use that one little bit, right? And so I think some people think like, if you want to be a coach, you have to have this desire from a young age that you want to be a coach or a teacher or something like that, where I didn't know that was something that was available to me until I had already graduated college, already had a different job, and was like, wow, I see that as an avenue that I want to pursue. But I remember thinking, what do I do? How do I even coach? Like, I'm just going to coach the way I was coached, right? And I think that there is a pitfall in that, because sometimes it's wonderful. Sometimes we have wonderful coaches who are understanding of the position, understanding how to teach, right? There's a difference between knowing and teaching. But there's a lot of people like me who didn't have that necessarily, like great understanding of how to teach. So I think just segueing into our list, that's like, for me, one of the most important things is like really challenging the status quo of the what and the how, like actually taking time to define what it is that you're trying to develop, and then researching, studying, and figuring out how to teach. Again, there's a difference between knowing and teaching. There's a difference between me, who knows what 2 + 2 is, and there's a huge difference between me and my son's teacher, who is actually teaching them to add, right? And there's a difference between building a house that you designed and putting together IKEA furniture, right? So I think that really part of our job is to figure out, what are we trying to develop, and the best way how to develop that, not just on the way that someone else taught us, but here's science, here's backing, here's the psychology behind the environments that we create, here's studies that have been done that will help us to not accelerate learning, but really maximize our minutes of learning. So that would be my biggest takeaways. When I was a younger coach, I wish I would have spent more time developing that part of myself as a coach. And the thing is that you can get your licenses and stuff, but that doesn't necessarily mean you understand the how well. And so that's going to be, for me, a lifelong pursuit of being the most efficient teacher I can be, by understanding our methods of how to teach.
I think that's the hardest transition too, from being a player to a coach, because you've been in that space so long, but it's always been somebody teaching you, and turning around and trying to teach it is a really hard skill that I feel like most people, when they get into coaching after playing, think it should be easy and come easy to them, but it's actually very difficult, and you'll quickly find out like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing.
Well, that brings me to my second one, Kira, is I think it's so important that, like, we were all at the convention, right? So we were all at the convention. I have two of my former friends and two of my friends who are my former teammates that were giving a panel talk, and they were talking about the transition from being on the national team to real life after getting a job and whatnot. And they both were saying for like the first many, many years of the jobs that they're currently in, they sucked at the beginning. They sucked. They were like, oh my gosh, when I look back, I was so bad. And I think sometimes as athletes, we forget that we had a beginning. We had a day one of something. We had a starting day of this playing football, right? And we don't really remember that because we just remember being really good at something. And I think it's really important for us in the beginning days of our coaching that we plan our best that we can, right? We write out our sessions, but then we equally take time to track how it went, reflect how it went, and make adjustments moving forward. Because there are so many times in the beginning of doing something, you have to fail. You have to be willing to make mistakes. You have to be willing to it just to fall apart and it to not work at all, right? And I think that's just part of the process of coaching, but it's really helpful if you can track almost your progress by the sessions that you're doing, what worked, what didn't work, and then try to make adjustments and see how that goes. If you don't have those learnings, it's going to be really difficult, or it's going to be a lot harder for you to intentionally take space where you feel like you need the most support.
Yeah. And when you're getting into coaching, just be okay with not being good at it at first. You don't have to be amazing at it at first. And that feeling is uncomfortable, but that's okay. It's okay to be uncomfortable, and leaning into that will make you a better coach, because every failure that you get, you're learning a lot from it.
Isn't it crazy, like, how many lessons you've learned in like a short window of, I mean, I will even say for myself, a short window of time. Like, I've only been coaching for a little more than 10 years, right? And in the beginning, I thought it had to be one way. It has to look this way. You have to interpret the position this way. There's a right way, there's a wrong way. And oh my gosh, when the goalkeepers I was working with didn't perform like how we had trained in the week, I took it as like a personal attack on me and my character, right? Like, oh my gosh, I suck. I'm so terrible. This is my fault. I haven't prepared them as well as I could. And it's just so wild in the short space of 10 years how that entire narrative can be flipped on its head. If you're just actively pursuing developing yourself, because as long as I'm a coach, that's going to be an important part of who I am, is continuing to be curious, because the game's always evolving and there's always going to be a better method, a more efficient method. And you have to think, goalkeeper coach, you're like a triage nurse or something, triage doctor. You got to be good at everything, right? You got to be good at knowing the game. You have to be able to break those down and be a great teacher. You have to be able to strike a ball and be fit. You have to think about the psychology of players and the ages and stages of play. Oh my gosh, just so much, right? And you're going to forever be on this journey of learning. And that's why I love TKI so much, is that all of us have the same mindset around learning and curiosity. And we all have different strengths, where I am not as educated on, the physical side of goalkeeping, where we have someone who is, and you have questions and you can go to that person. And Leah at Whole Set Fitness has been incredible for us and really challenged me in different ways to be a better coach. And yeah, I think that's going to be a forever part of your journey. So if you embrace it now, it's going to be something that is your superpower later on. Oh, ready for the last one?
We're ready.
Okay. The last one is to find a mentor. I think that's going to be really important, because even if it's, you get a college coaching job, right? Like here, for example, you got a college coaching job. Find yourself a mentor, even if it's the head coach that you work for, or an assistant coach, or a friend, or a business person, or whoever, somebody that can provide you some insight on your journey and maybe has already been there and done that and can be able to share their best practices or their experience. Someone who can support you, who cares about you, who is going to hold you up when it's hard, who's going to be able to have difficult conversations with you. I think that is so crucial to your development, because sometimes we just get tunnel vision. We get blinders on and we can't see outside of ourselves sometimes. And we need that person to lean on, or we have questions that we are like, oh, I'm so curious about this, but I don't know the answers and I'm not even really sure where to start. A mentor can help you, an inner circle can help you. And also, we just released our coaching course, which could be a really great resource for people who have been in the game for 25 years or are 25 years old and just transitioning to coaching. It is, I think, a great way to have a community and to have accountability, and a great place that you can intentionally take space to grow, because that is the name of the game for coaches. Hopefully you guys will join me on the coaching course. I mean, Kira's on her own personal coaching course. Her and Faith.
And nobody come try to steal my mentor. I already got one. But find yourself your own, Joe Lloyden.
Oh, gosh. You're making me blush. Tori said I was a little flush earlier. That's why.
Yeah, you got a little color, but it's really, I guess, just from the Pelly.
Yeah, the Pelly and the pool. The pool and the Pelly.
It's the chlorine, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Tori, I mean, how's that experience been for you? Because I feel like your head coach at St. Joe's is a great mentor for you as well.
I think I've been really blessed to have people that I've kind of either entered their life or they've entered my life, and pretty much immediately become this really positive influence for me. So, I know Kira already gave you your shouts, but for me, coming to TKI, I came as a player and then ended up never leaving and just staying as coach. But I had you and Maria to really not only guide me on the coaching side of things, but even just like the business side of things. And then I had a very similar experience when going to St. Joe's. I applied for the job and almost immediately clicked with Jess. And I think it's been cool because I've learned more in a different way. So I'm learning a lot about like becoming the coach I want to become and like goalkeeping and the game here. And then when I think about what I've learned from Jess, it's a lot of like creating a team culture and getting buy-in and taking systems and applying them to a big group, as well as like getting goalkeepers to understand how they fit into that system. So I think having really good mentors has not only challenged me to become a better version of myself, but it's aided me in becoming kind of a better coach all in all, like a well-rounded coach, and whether it be in the individual setting, in a group setting, or in a team setting.
I think we'll do a podcast on how to give feedback and how to observe a session when you're trying to give feedback to a younger coach, or even just, goalkeepers in general, just in terms of feedback. I think that's key, because wherever you draw attention to, that's essentially what you become. You are right. What you emphasize, right? So let's do a podcast on that. Just saying it out loud. All right, it's your turn to ask a question, Tor.
My turn to ask a question, and it is going to be due to the recent weather that we have received. It's lighthearted, it's fun. I want to know what everyone's favorite snow day activity is.
That's an easy one for me. I love sledding. I'll sled all day, especially if it's got like something where I can get a little airborne.
Who had more fun sledding, you or the boy? You. The answer is Jill.
Definitely
Jill. Me. Yeah, for sure. Also, when I was a kid, I'm from a little bit of like a country area. My friends had snowmobiles and quads and stuff, and we would just like put a sled on the back of the thing. Oh, golly. I mean, you might not be able to see through your goggles, but the adrenaline was rushing.
It's rushing.
It's amazing she's still alive.
Still here, folks. All right, Kira.
I did not go sledding. I did dig out my long driveway and had some hot coffee and watched soccer. But nothing too crazy this snow day.
Yeah.
What about you, Tori?
This snow day, I did a lot of wedding planning. My wedding coordinator was on me, aka AJ. And what else? Oh, I built Legos.
Nice.
I love that.
Love me some Lego.
Did you build the Lego we got you for Christmas yet?
No, we haven't built the wreath yet. We built a bonsai tree. We have a stack of like Legos we still have to build.
Wow. Oh, wow, that's cool.
A couple 12-year-old boys.
Lego is just like a 3D puzzle though, right?
It's for everyone. It's for all ages.
It is for everyone.
Even the race cars for everybody.
The race cars?
Yeah, we got race car Legos too.
Oh, that's fancy.
See, now my kids need to come stay with you for a weekend.
Please.
They'll never leave. They'll never leave.
All right, you guys, we are really fortunate because we have one of the best sponsors in the game. It's our glove sponsor and our equipment supplier. It's West Coast Goalkeeping. They have gloves for everyone from pro levels to it's your first day. Hundreds of goalkeepers all around the world use them, from Matt Turner, Kaylin Sheridan. They have over 40 models. They have a glove for everyone. Please visit their website, get your gloves from them. They're the most affordable, and our values align with their values. It is a great brand. We want to support you guys in whatever we can, if that is through the coaching course, or if you guys want to come to our select camps that we just put out this last week. We would love to see you. We'd love to meet you. We have a mission to help grow the goalkeeping community as players, as parents, as coaches. We are all about it. We're so passionate about it. Reach out to us. We want to talk to you about goalkeeping and support you on your journey. If not, we'll catch you later.
We'll catch you later.
Bye.